It's good to see you all. Obviously, we have two guests here. Will be our first agenda item, sort of a brief agenda, but some important topics. So I will introduce and kick it over to Corey Ahonen and Bruce Henshaw, who have some comments about our transportation.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We're glad to be here to update you on some exciting news that we have. So as you may have just heard, I'm Corey Ahonen, Deputy Director for the Health and Community Services Department on the side of Veteran Services and Financial Assistance. And Bruce is our Acting Transportation Coordinator. So, basically in conjunction with the Age-Friendly program, the Age-Friendly Advisory Council, surveys went out, areas of improvement, areas for opportunity were identified, and one of those big ones was transportation. So we don't have public transportation readily available as much as we'd like to in the town of Easton, considering the proximity to, train stations, MBTA buses, like we see a huge disparity, just across the border in Brockton where there's public transportation available all over. As it is right now, we have services for seniors and folks experiencing disabilities. They can ride transportation line to appointments that they may have, medical or otherwise, food pantry, essential services, right? And the idea is to just kind of expand on that. So we will continue to offer those services with a focus on seniors and a focus on disabled. But Bruce was going to tell us just a little bit about kind of expanding that. So.
Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. Now, some of the services like we already offer for the elderly and disabled, but we want to expand on that to include everyone in the town. So we're going to be starting with like families that have little children that have transportation needs, as well as any other residents in the town that have the need for alternate transportation. We're going to be restructuring what we do offer and how we do it. Right now, things happen on very specific days, like shopping. There's only Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Those days could change. The hours that we operate for that could change. Like hair appointments, we're definitely going to be changing the days, but we're going to be expanding the hours. It was limited to like a 3-hour window on 2 days. Now it's going to be 1 day, but all day, and then we could even expand it to multiple days if need be. So we are going to be offering a lot more services soon, hopefully.
That's super.
Yeah, so, and if you don't mind, just one more piece to add. So, basically, the culmination of all this, the research that's gone on in other areas of the town, the surveys, and our response to that has resulted in us hiring 3 new drivers that'll be starting on Monday. So we're very excited. Over the years, we've kind of ebbed and flowed with the amount of drivers we have and just making it work. Bruce was actually a full-time driver prior to this trial expansion that we're working on that will soon become permanent. We're hoping and confident that it will. But yeah, so 3 new drivers coming on board that'll allow us and allow Bruce to dispatch them and take on more initiatives like he was saying. Families in need, and we were able to kind of gauge that. And then once we've fulfilled the emergent needs, we'll be able to continue to expand and just provide a quality service to everybody.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How do people know? Is it still by appointment? Do they have to call your office? Or is it like a route that you travel?
Right now, it is still by appointment. We do require or request a minimum of 3 days' notice. That way, we can build the schedule because we are still limited on the amount of drivers until we get everyone in.
And it is a pickup drop-off service, so
That's
it's not like a trolley that drives around town and picks up, which that would be nice, but at the same time, I'm not sure in our area if that would be effective or not. But anyway, so currently that's what it's been, and that's the history, and that's the current situation. In the future, with more drivers, we may change the way things are done, but that's currently the way it's done.
So there are 3 new part-time drivers, I
Yes.
take it? And how many are there in total now? Do you know?
Right now, so we are at 6. We're at 3 right now. When the new one started, it'll be
Monday.
6.
Yep.
So,
And we do have a vacant full-time driver spot that will be backfilled. So that's a full-timer, which will replace Bruce's prior position.
So you're looking for someone to fill that?
Not currently, but we
Oh.
will be.
So I shouldn't put that in the newsletter, or?
I would not advertise the
Okay.
vacant job. I would it's just that,
Got it.
it's just as an update for you all.
And just one other question. With this being available for the whole community, will seniors and disabled folks be prioritized if there's a conflict?
Yes. So as a requirement of, we lease the vehicles from BAT and Brockton Area Transit Authority, and we lease the vehicles with the agreement that we prioritize seniors and disabled folks. But they have agreed to allow us to use those vehicles for basically anything we deem necessary aside from a few short requirements.
The same fee structure?
Yes, yes. So rides it's like donations are encouraged. We'll work with folks if they are in need of assistance in that area, and we do have some certain groups that may be incentivized with, discounted rides or things like that determined off of financial eligibility. But we do have recommended donations. Which, do you want to mention that real quick?
yeah. Right now, the recommended donations are to offset any financial needs that we have on this end, other than the grants that we get. But basically, it's right now structured as $2 for a ride in town, $4 for a ride out of town. So, like a round trip could be up to $6. Just very minimal.
I have a
Yes.
question about the disabled children. I did work for school vans, and they had programs that were, when they got contracted, they were contracted to also work with people who had disabled children to go to different appointments. Now, is that, I just was curious, because it's already, I don't know if this town has that program.
I'm not sure. There are. We have like nonprofit programs that do things like that. I know for some of the school-related programs, they have things like that in place. We will just kind of be a support to be used in conjunction with whatever the family has pre-existing. So we kind of look at each family as a case-by-case, and we'll ask them what they have available. We'll run through, Tracy Levine has resources for transportation. I'm aware of resources for transportation, and then Bruce obviously runs our Health and Community Services transportation, and we'll just kind of figure out how we can make it all work together based off of, if you're eligible for Mass Health transportation, we can meet halfway and figure that out that way. Case by case will probably be the way that we'll handle all that, but not currently aware of. I think it's just varies so much individual to individual, so we'll just be ready to evaluate as needed.
So
I was just curious.
Yeah.
clarification, it's $2 in town one way or round trip?
Each way.
Okay.
And it's a recommended donation, just to be clear.
Yeah,
We'll work with folks who need.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But it helps us continue to do what we're doing.
Sure,
So, hate to just say, just don't take the recommendation lightly, but at the same time, it helps to continue the services. So if you can afford it, it's going to a good cause.
It's better than an Uber, isn't that?
I think
Yeah.
it's a lot better than a lot better prices, and
Yeah.
I think the service you get, you're going to get the same 6 drivers. It's not a random person that you haven't met before, and eventually
Good point, yeah.
they become a friendly face.
And it's safe.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
safe. Yeah.
No, it's
Corey,
great.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now, for a senior, they had to go into Boston for some reason. Are there anyone in town that does this
Yeah.
for seniors?
It's a good question, and that's something that we're currently assessing and seeing what we could offer. It's tough
I've
because
had
if you
people ask me.
to make a trip into Boston for one individual, it's time consuming. Not to say that it's not important and not worth it, because it absolutely is, but it's just trying to balance what we have the capability to do with the drivers that we have. So it's something that we're going to be exploring in the
What
future.
is the radius that you'll travel?
Bruce?
Right now, it's Easton and the towns that touch it around
So
us.
touching towns.
Yes.
Touching towns, yes. And there are the occasional, exceptions that can be made. And by all means, when we can do things, we're trying to do them as best as we can. But as far as opening the door to providing rides, individual rides to Boston like that, it's a tough one
I
to.
didn't know that if there was an organization or something in town that would do something like that.
There's not a general organization, but at the same time, like based off an individual's needs, they may qualify for medical transportation based off if they have Mass Health or if they have certain Medicare meet certain requirements. They may qualify for other outside programs, but that's like a case by case situation.
Okay.
But we do provide. I would say an assessment on that in this building through Tracy Levine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to do that with someone as well.
Right.
And I think the goal is for our transportation program to become aware of.
So if somebody did ask, I'd say call here,
Yeah.
maybe that you can help.
They should absolutely call, and worst case, we just would unfortunately not be able to accommodate. Best case, we can set them up with another organization that might be
Yeah.
able to help. So that's the long-term goal is for our transportation program to be aware of everything that's going on related to transportation in the area and be able to best provide people with what they need.
Okay.
Well, a lot
Thank you.
of Boston hospitals have satellites now around
True.
the area.
True.
Because my own son-in-law has cancer, and he's been going to Weymouth and
Mm.
staying a farmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes to Weymouth all the time.
You know, in the VA, for example, they have a shuttle that runs from Brockton,
Right.
gets you to Jamaica Plain, Boston VA, West Roxbury, but it's a long day. You know, you have to be there at 6 a.m. and you just ride. That's your day. That's a day spent.
What is Tracy Levine's title?
She's a benefits and grants navigator.
Thank you.
Yeah, she helps folks. She's in most cases she acts as a case manager with folks in need, families experiencing all kinds of things from, heating problems, food insecurity, housing insecurity, that sort of thing.
So theoretically, a person could take your service to the Brockton VA and then a connecting service into Boston, to the VA or anywhere in Boston?
Well, the VA shuttle only runs to VA.
Only to VA,
Yeah.
okay.
And Brockton Area Transit, the BAT rides,
Yeah, that's
they
it.
do offer rides to Boston as well. However, since COVID started, they've limited it, so they're only down to Wednesdays only. And it's a long day. You go in like 7 o'clock in the morning, and you don't come back until like 3 in the afternoon. So if your appointment's at like 10, you're there all day. So
But
they are
yeah.
limited on their ride as well.
But I think in all fairness, it's, it can't be like a limousine service that's right there when you need them and picks you up right there when you're done. So it's I think what we can offer is the highest level of public transportation that's just short of that individualized service, because it's got to be for multiple people.
I think there's a network available, but people don't really know about it. Like, this is what you're talking
Yeah.
about. People don't know that. I don't, like, that
Yeah, a
just
lot of
occurred
people
to
don't
me.
know about that yet.
So it's good
Yeah.
to know that.
Yeah, we're gonna be focusing on some outreach and getting the word out about even outside of what we offer with the town, possibly coming up with transportation resources for the area. So
That would be
go
good.
from there.
So this is a question for you. I'm hoping that this information will be in the coordinator.
Certainly will. Front page
And-
news.
This is
And-
Yes.
And
pretty
one other
interesting.
thing,
This is very interesting.
would it be
This is a big deal.
worthwhile for the services that Tracy Levine that you were just talking about, doing that case management, for that to be in the coordinator?
I think plugging Tracy is an awesome idea. She is totally invaluable and a great asset to our team. So maybe not the March coordinator, because that is going out, I think actually yesterday, but potentially April or future editions.
Yep.
So do you put that in your notes or?
I'll put it in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you could offer to host Tracy here to tell you a little bit about what she
That would
does.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. So if that's any other questions, otherwise I think we've covered it. We're very excited to roll this out and appreciate your support in getting the word out and moving forward with it.
And I have an off-topic comment for you. I believe you're aware that there is a veterans event in May through the Lions.
Oh, yes, I am aware. Yep. I'm on the emails, so
Yes, and I'm
working with
hoping
Gary
that
and
can be, Gary's my husband, I'm
Oh.
hoping that can be in the coordinator, that maybe in
Can you share
April.
that info with me?
yes, absolutely.
I told him, but I told Gary to pass it on.
Good.
Yeah, that's just, the Lions are having a dinner, or I
Yeah.
forget what it's called,
Yeah,
to
just-
celebrate Easton, but this year they're honoring veterans.
It's very nice.
And,
Yeah.
and it's at a much reduced fee, the Lions is picking up, and it's at Stonehill, so
Yeah.
I
Nice
think-
dinner and some entertainment. Sounds
Is
like.
that just for the veterans or?
For the whole community.
Yeah.
I mean, but is it for the spouses too, or just the veterans alone?
Tickets for sale, I believe. So I think it's open, right?
Yeah.
I
Anybody.
don't. Yeah, I don't speak for the
Right.
Lions, but my understanding is that it's going to be open.
And the tickets will be $35 for dinner. I think there's gonna be a band and dancing, and it's honoring veterans, and there are speakers. Veterans are speaking.
When is this?
It's in May. I don't
May.
remember the date.
Yeah, it's in May, so the full details aren't out yet.
Okay,
Still in the planning phases. It seemed like from the emails that I was getting. So
okay.
it'll get out there, I'm sure. I'll make sure of it.
Yeah, and that would be wonderful to have it in.
Yeah, a lot of hard work, the planning for that. So I think it'll be very nice. It's appreciated. So
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Corey, Bruce, thank you very much for all the work you do with transportation. This was really insightful, and
thank you.
hopefully we capitalize and make the most of this offering.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Awesome. So moving on to our second agenda item, programming update. Still making a lot of additions to our programming calendar, particularly for older adult and family programs, intergenerational programs. Marjorie, I'll give this to you afterwards, so you don't have to necessarily keep up with it. A few programs that are noteworthy. The first two actually dovetail off of what Corey and Bruce shared. In addition to expanding our driver network and our transportation offering, we are going to be offering programs that are off-site and where we provide transportation to locations. So the first two that we're going to start with are really awesome, and I think they're really interesting topics. The first is to the Patriots Hall of Fame. That'll be, it's going to be very exciting. They're very glad that we are willing to partner with them and look forward to hosting us. That'll be on 3/31 at 10 a.m. Given the size of our buses, it's only open to the first 14 that sign up. And then the cost of transportation and tickets is going to be $10. So it's relatively nominal. The second trip is
Patriots Hall of Fame? you
Yep.
said?
Yeah, you don't need to chase
Okay,
down everything I'm
thank
writing.
you.
I'll give you this little cheat sheet. I was thinking of you this morning. I figured I'd save you a little bit of time. And the other is to the Southeastern Massachusetts Regional Emergency Correspondence Center, better known as SEMREC. So it's our regional 911 hub for, I think it's Rentham, us, Taunton, a series of other towns and cities. We did a town meeting there just to see once we had established that partnership. It was really incredible. Again, it's going to be $10. That'll be on April 5th. The parking for both of these, given some of the restrictions we have here, will be at the Historical Society. There'll be some marketing in the March coordinator about these events. That one's going to be really interesting. I'd encourage people to sign up for it. Registration for both of those can be online, posted on the community programs website, or you're able to call Frothingham Hall and we'll get you squared away with it. Other programs that we have partnered with the Garden Club to offer a floral arrangement program free of cost. That'll be on April 5th from 12:30 to 2:30. We are working on and have finalized at least 3 authors for an author program that will come into Frothingham Hall, discuss the inspiration, the topic, concepts, literary elements of their books. That'll be on May 9th, 10 to 11:30 in this building. We are offering 2 unique pottery programs for don't get too excited for Mother's Day and Father's Day, but they can be intergenerational and grandfathers, grandmothers type of deal as well, so I felt it was appropriate. And my grandparents brought me to a program like this to surprise my parents once, so I figured maybe this venue is a good one to share this with. Limit is 25 people registered for this. Cost is going to be $35 for each program. It includes the materials. It is a create here, the partner vendor will bring it back to their office to use the kiln, and then we'll share the pickup date once they're ready, and it'll bring it back here in time for the holiday. Those will be on April 29th for Mother's Day, since that comes first, and May 19th, since that is before Father's Day, 4 and 6 p.m. respectively. We have a multi-generational show hosted by Davis Bates. So this is one program that we had submitted a grant application to the Mass Cultural Council. This will be free of charge. It'll be, some additional information will come out in the April coordinator, since it's for April 21st, about the activities. There'll be some sort of music, entertainment, again, free of charge at Frothingham Hall. The family music program is pushed back to May 4th. It'll be occurring every Thursday for 8 weeks from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. In this room. Grandparents, parents are able to bring anyone that they are a caregiver for and make music, anyone ages 3 to 5 years old. And last but not least, we'll be hosting a town-run bocce league in May through June. Starting May 23rd. The entry is $20. You can have a partner. The fee is per person. We will pair up any single players that are looking to get matched up and still want to participate. We are working out a few more details for that, particularly for parents that may have kids and need some sort of caregiver situation. But that'll be a really exciting program. I think we may have run something in the past, but we're looking forward to bringing that back.
Where are the bocce courts?
Right behind you. Yep. So we'll be at Frothingham Hall.
And for
on
people who haven't ever played, were you teaching them how? Somebody,
Ooh, maybe learn 2 bocce.
yeah,
That's a neat idea.
I would like to learn bocce.
There's only one court over there.
Yeah, there's only one court.
One court.
Yep. Yeah. There's also, of course, court at Queeset Gardens, but
Yeah.
we would probably just block time and schedule games so people know what time to show up.
I have a question about the first 2 programs that have the transportation.
Sure.
And you said 14 people. If more people want to go but don't need transportation, is that possible? Like, could the
I imagine it would be. We would just be able to provide transportation for 14, and then we just arrange separate ticket sales.
And the ticket would be the same, the price you think would be the same? If people don't,
If transportation is not needed, it would probably just be the face value of the ticket, which is $7.
imagine some folks might want to drive themselves.
Yeah. Here's this.
Thank you.
I may need it back later, but I can photocopy it. Awesome. The punch card program.
Wait a minute, can we talk about the
Sure.
programs for a minute? The thing about, it's wonderful to have all these programs going on. And I'm glad to see that you scheduled a pickup at a different place for one of those things. Because the parking out here, especially on Mondays, is horrendous. And there are like 4 spaces or 5 that are just, they either have cones or they have vans in them. It's a problem. Or,
Sure.
and if the vans can't move, then maybe the schedule needs to be adjusted so that there's like a half an hour between one program getting out and another one starting, so that there's some turnover time in the parking lot. I know that sounds stupid, but
No,
No, it
not at
doesn't.
all.
the thing is that, like, I've talked to women at that chair yoga that have had to park in front of Oak Saints Hall and they walk up the hill. And, you know, for some older women,
Yeah.
that's a challenge. So,
Yeah,
Can I say something? This is an ongoing problem.
well,
It's been going on for 10 years.
yeah, well, it's serious, you know?
Weren't
It
they
is serious.
talking about expanding the parking lot that way?
Yeah, our office had submitted some inquiries to see what that would cost, if there would be different funding sources for that type of thing. It's a conversation, and every time I go to town hall and I have to come back on a Monday after a meeting,
Yeah.
you have to park on the other side of Frothingham Hall, or Frothingham Market sometimes.
Yes, they
See, we
would.
used to park across the street. when it got overloaded, but now they've sold that property
Yeah.
and nobody we can't, no one has
Yeah, I
parked
don't
over
believe
there.
so. But it's well documented. I've sent out some surveys and gotten feedback from folks, and it's in almost
an
every single
ongoing problem.
survey.
Well, my immediate solution would be, can you put the vans someplace else, at least during the day on Mondays and Wednesdays when there's a lot of stuff going on?
It's potentially an option. I can, that's Corey and Bruce's field, but I'll certainly ask them.
Because that would at least, you know, be maybe 5 more spaces.
I'm trying to think what vans you're speaking of.
The ones down
The
the
big
end.
buses, those,
Yeah, the big.
Well, they're usually parked on the dirt, the buses are,
yeah, but you could put cars there.
I guess so. That's always been the way that,
No, but they have been talking about expanding the
yeah, that's been
parking
going on for
quite a few years.
5 years or
Yeah.
Yeah,
more.
at least when
Yeah.
Dell was here,
Yeah.
they were talking about
About
it.
expanding and cause there's gravel back there, we could sell the gravel and stuff and make money on it.
They own quite a bit back there.
Yeah, the property on Frothingham
Oh,
Hall
yeah.
is rather
Yeah.
large, but, you know, take into consideration the other projects the town is undertaking, cost of clearance of the trees, you know, cost of backfill, at least a minimum gravel, not even necessarily pay. It becomes sort of complicated, but it's, you know, it is a conversation, we're super aware of it. It's a matter of how do we do it and how do we do it in a financially responsible manner.
Well, in my opinion, the first thing would be move the buses, vans, whatever
Sure.
they're called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to your other point, I just lost my train of thought. We had spaced out the classes to about 15 minutes. We started moving things by a half an hour. We probably could cut back the number of programs we offer. So 15 is sort of like a sweet spot, like a Goldilocks
Yeah.
option. You know, there's some time to clear out and such, but you know, the programs are just so immensely popular, which
They are, and
is
that's
is a
wonderful.
double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's why, you know, you gotta make it more user-friendly out in the parking lot, I
Yeah.
would think.
I think, is street parking available on the area, so I know there's that 4 slot that's immediately across, but is
Yeah.
street parking available on the other side? Cause this is only a
On
one-way.
Oakland, off
Mm-hmm.
of Center.
So Barrows, this side of the street
This
parking.
is Barrows here.
Very
I guess.
narrow. and not-
Yeah, it's narrow.
If a lot of
Is it
cars
not-
park there.
it's a one-way though, so is it allowed? I don't know the traffic
I
patterns well
don't
enough.
know.
Yeah, I don't know
Narrow
either.
street.
Anyways, I will ask Corey about potentially finding new space for the van, but the town is so tight that there are challenges in where we can move them.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, instead of having people walk up from that, you know, put the vans there
That
for,
is a
for
hill
that.
to climb.
You know, yeah, for Mondays and Wednesday mornings when it's
There's
busy.
an idea, they could have the vans transport the people here up the hill.
Oh yeah, if you want to park there.
If people, they could say parking here and have the van, it's not great, but,
Yeah.
so
It's
if they
just-
don't, it's hard, that
Yeah.
hill is very steep.
Is there any parking behind the Oaks Ames Hall? That they could maybe keep
They're
the
making
buses?
Yeah.
parking.
That's
but-
pretty hilly.
But if
I
they
don't know.
keep the buses there,
Oh,
as you
yeah,
say.
no.
And then if there are any parking places
They're building a
there.
parking lot there. That's something that's been discussed at the town meeting and in process.
Yeah,
But that's,
The parking lot behind the Oaks Ames Hall.
yeah.
Well, it's just, having been here on Mondays a lot and Wednesday mornings, it's a challenge to park.
I stopped coming.
for that reason,
I did, I
It's
just
sad.
stopped.
because of that.
Because of parking, and even when I was pulling in this today, I said, oh, God, it's only not quarter to 10. Where are these people that are coming here? Because I did find a parking space on the lot. Usually I have to park on the hill, and I have a hard time getting out of my car because my door doesn't stay totally
Yeah,
open.
it's a challenge.
It's a
I
it's a
agree.
challenge, yes. But I says, you know, is it worth it? No, it's not worth it anymore. It's too crowded, and as far as I'm concerned, the room was too crowded. Cause we used to put 30 chairs in there when we had the 9 feet that they took away from us.
Yeah.
Now they're putting 30 chairs in there in that same little area. Too crowded for me. And I said, the parking sucks, I ain't going. That's my excuse.
Well, a lot of people think that way.
Yes, yes.
Sorry to hear that.
And when we do have, I come Monday morning for Tai Chi. And we used to get out at 5 to 10, 10 o'clock, because it's 9 to 10. And even then, the lot is pretty full when I get here for 9 o'clock, which is basically people that work here.
I've had.
No offense.
We try to take the last few spots on the end, so we're taking the not so great spots.
Right. I said, because I sit there and say, was all of this really thought through when they did this whole thing of AARP certified? Because they took away from the seniors. To me,
Yes.
they took away from us more than they gave us.
That's what a lot of people say.
But now I said, well, they did give us a lot, more so than what we had before. But, and that's a big but, that I feel, and like you said, others feel the same way.
Well, we meet, down at the donut shop. And there's a lot of talking going on down there. And there are people that
I'm not
say,
invited.
"What, you can come anytime you want."
I don't think you'd want to, Joe.
Well, I don't know about that. But they're wondering about the seniors moving down to the center school, where the center school is. Plenty of parking down there. Do you
Or
think
to
that
do
they'd
what?
be having the COA down there instead of here?
They're gonna tear down that building.
They are?
Well, there was a wall that was in danger of falling down.
Yeah.
Oh,
here.
was it?
Yeah,
It
it's,
wasn't
oh,
safe.
okay.
It had to be
Oh,
taken
all right.
down.
when I was there for 5 years, a long time ago, and there was a raccoon that was in the basement. So, it has its charms and challenges, but it's going to be torn down.
Oh, what's gonna go down there though? Can't they build a new
It's-
COA
it's
building?
It's being discussed actively.
To be determined.
That would be a great spot for the COA.
It would be.
Would be.
More
My
spaces.
understanding is that there's a lot of dissension. This will be discussed at the next town meeting, which is in May. It will be put out to bid. One of the interested parties is the Y, and I have heard that if that was to happen, there's a possibility that could include the Council on Aging, that the Y would incorporate many town things as well. So
That would be wonderful.
Would the Y take down the building and put up a new building?
no, the town has gotten permission through the town meeting to take down that building,
Okay.
which they have to do. Then there are many steps. They talk about this at the town meeting, but it will go out to bid as to how that will be used, and there are certain criteria. It cannot be developed into like condos or something. It has to be used for nonprofit
That's good.
purpose. I mean, there was a very contentious town meeting around all of this, and there were certain criteria put in, but I don't want to misspeak, but my understanding from the last town meeting was they got approval to take down that building. It was very expensive to just maintain it, and it was a liability. So they're going to take down that, and then the next step is, I believe, to put it out to bid. Many people were opposed to the Y. Some people wanted it to be just used for fields. So there's a lot of discussion. But I do recommend going to if you're interested in the whole topic of what's happening, this will come up at the next town meeting in May. It's gonna take a long time to.
So
sort
going
through.
out to bid, they're bidding on the land, or they're bidding on the construction of a building?
They're building on my understanding is someone putting something on that land. They're not bidding on, like, if hypothetically, if the Y got approval, the Y would have to raise the money to build the building. And the one thing that got put in that people had very strong opinions about was maintaining,
The ice
Yardley
rink.
Rink
Yeah.
with some parking. People felt although there's no more ice, we don't have winter anymore, but that's a whole other discussion. But, right? But people had very strong feelings that whatever goes in there, that needed to be maintained as You were at that meeting. Am
Yeah,
I,
this is a very good summary.
But if the Y were there, it would be so logical to have the link right alongside it because it's for children, you know?
it was fascinating to me, the amount of pushback about the Y.
Against the Y?
Against the Y. Because in my opinion, one woman's opinion, the Y does a tremendous amount, and I don't think people are aware that it's so much more than a gym, and anyone has access. One of the big concerns was that you have to belong to the Y, you have to pay money, but really anyone can, regardless. They're incredibly generous, so it was quite a contentious discussion, but it wasn't, they weren't really talking about whether it would be the Y. It was, could the town take down Center School, and then what was the criteria for putting it out to bid? And again, people had strong feelings, and so some good language went in, like it couldn't be used to put in a condo complex.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because they were also saying, take the DPW, move it down there.
So the DPW, the fire, and the police are going to be moved, and that's all going to be moved to behind, near Shaw's. I'm looking at you because you were at that
I
meeting.
don't know that that's necessarily confirmed yet. I think that's still a work in progress.
Is that where the piggery was? In there by the,
I don't
the
know.
wa- the,
My geography
Oh.
is still a bit,
Yeah.
bit weak.
okay,
admittedly.
well, the piggery is right on Depot Street where it was, but it's by the power lines.
So it's some
Well, I think
land.
that's that land that they're talking about, is that, and I don't remember who the owner of that land was, but.
Gil,
Yeah, and,
But
that
this
area-
is town-owned land that they're
yeah,
thinking.
because they bought
they
it.
bought it.
It's from, and it goes from, 123 around to behind Shaw's?
It's a
onto
lot of stuff
106?
buried in there, though, they say.
That's what they said, yes.
Yeah, from
And
the
the-
piggery stuff.
The cost
You know,
of,
buildings and.
yeah,
We've forked off a few times from our main question, but if we're summarized, very nicely summarized, Margaret. That was absolutely, you were the note taker for town meeting.
I didn't put any of that in
That's
our notes.
You seem to be well versed enough in it. I'm sure you have it codified to memory. It'll be well represented. Parking, for sure. I'm definitely advocating for it. I'd encourage all of you to advocate with the voices that you have too. The more voices, the better. I think we all agree that a very nice and very nice community center that's accommodating for all ages and space-wise, parking-wise, the whole nine would be fantastic. And I do hope that's sincerely in the near future.
but in the meantime, Monday mornings are a challenge.
In the meantime,
Get here, well, even getting here earlier won't do any good on Monday morning because we have Tai Chi. There's usually 10 to 12
Right.
people in there.
Right, I'm usually the last one to kind of squeeze in on that hilly part before the entrance to the.
and I think one thing that is within my control is I will maybe informally ask those groups, semi-formally ask those groups if they may be willing to space out a bit more. If I recall our program schedule on Mondays, we can shift things a bit later, but then we may be impacting the afternoon
Well,
groups.
they don't start till 10:30, but they're out there at the door waiting for us to come out. So just so you know.
It's 10:30 on Wednesdays, it's 10, no, you're right, it's 10:30 on Mondays.
Right,
Yeah.
because we were there and Wednesdays, there's usually no group before you go 10 o'clock.
No, you're right, there isn't,
Yeah.
you're correct.
I used to go there, I know.
Yeah,
So I don't necessarily want to negatively impact people or, if a good portion of the group says that they wouldn't be able to make the program anymore, I would be hard pressed to justify spacing things out.
Certainly.
So, I'll try to make a reasonable decision,
Yeah.
also take into account the folks that are in the classes.
but in the immediate, just moving the vans, whatever they're called, on Mondays and Wednesday mornings would, and moving the cones, because the cones,
Cones.
just, to be hunting for a parking space and to see cones in 3 spots.
I'll see if it's within Corey's staff's capacity to be able to move those and alleviate some of the issues.
So here's an unpopular idea, maybe the
Oh,
staff
no.
could park elsewhere, so that
I would not mind parking
elders-
elsewhere
so
in
that-
spring and summer.
So that elders, You're young, you can climb up the hill on the ice,
That,
barefoot.
that's true, that the
Yeah.
staff not parking a lot.
Yeah.
Onto the punch card program.
Sorry.
We've definitely tried to take into account the folks that are our patrons and our residents in the community we're supporting. So Corey and I have tucked ourselves into the back corner, taking I believe, our worst spots.
Even the gentleman who does the punch card things,
Yep.
he goes, I've talked to them about how maybe those trash bins, whatever trash day it is, put the no parking signs up for trash day, but the rest of the time, let people park in front of the
That's a
trash
good
bins.
solution.
Because that would be like 3 spaces maybe. Advocating for parking.
These are creative ideas for sure. Punch card program. So I did want to highlight this. I know Chris had asked that it be added to the upcoming meeting agenda. So a quick summary as to some of the successes that we've had from programming in punch card. What do I have for numbers? So this isn't super well reflected. When I first started here, so this is including, or prior to my arrival, we had from January to June, roughly 125 unique people coming into the building for fitness programs. In the first two quarters, so that would be June to December, we increased that to 175, so roughly like a 15 to 20% increase.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty excited that as of January, we're up to almost 200. So we've seen 54.2% rise in fitness attendance, which doesn't help parking. But it is exciting that we are impacting more residents.
They're good programs
the
that people
number?
enjoy.
In January, 200?
Nearly 200, I think it was 178. And that doesn't include unique people in February.
Just in January?
Wow.
But, so January to June, 125 per month or per that whole
Unique.
quarter?
So in 6 months, we had 125 different
And in
people coming
January,
the program.
just in 1 month, 178.
Unique people.
Wow.
Doesn't account for how many times like Chris has come in or Gene has come in or
Mhm.
anybody else for that matter. It's unique Easton residents that have come in.
Wow.
So do you track it by those little
Yep.
things that
Which
you
we
have to
believe to
keep
be mostly accurate. There may be
Mhm.
some folks that we are missing that don't have them, but I've been told that is probably as accurate as we'll be able to get it without putting like a turnstile type of deal in,
Mhm.
which we're not going to do.
Yeah.
Total fitness participants, so this includes recurring, went from about 2,100 in the first time frame to about 2,200 from June to December, and then forecasted for this first quarter through June is roughly 3,800. So we're looking at like a 30% increase in how many people are attending at least one or multiple fitness classes. So pretty substantial numbers. We're definitely reaching a lot of the of new residents in the town that are in that demographic. I think we've sold far more punch cards than I anticipated we would sell going into the year.
Mhm.
So I think in some ways that program is for sure a success. I know some folks have mentioned specifically to Chris and potentially other members of the COA. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah,
Wanna take thunder?
there were several people that commented on how expensive it was compared to prior when there was no cost. And one woman said, well, if you go to Planet Fitness, it's $10 a month, but you really don't get anything, that other than the use of the machines, you don't get any instruction to speak of. And then there was did they meet with you? Did someone write you a letter? Did they meet with you?
14th of March, we're going to catch up with them.
Okay, so you haven't done it, it's not yet.
No, there were a few things that came up in their personal life and want to be
Oh.
conscious of that.
Yeah, so I don't know, most people don't have a problem with it, some people do. There were a lot of suggestions like, well, if, once you finish a punch card, once you have all 10 punches, they should give you a free class, or, stuff like that. I guess people don't really realize that if you buy the 3, it's like, what, $1.25 a class or $1.30 a class, something like that. There's been less talk about it lately than there was when it first occurred, you know, when the punch cards first started, which could be,
Could be next one.
yeah.
We used to pay $15 a month. Then a grant came through and they got it free all last year.
Mhm.
And we increased in membership. Unbelievable how people
Sure.
could, was free, they came.
Yeah.
Now they're paying again. And it has gone up in price, but everything's gone up in price.
It has.
So let them complain.
Yeah, so very well summarized. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's sort of normalizing and folks don't
It
necessarily
seems
see
to
the
be,
impact.
people don't seem to be, you know,
Complaining as much.
yeah, chewing on it as
So
much as they
they've
were
accepted
before.
it, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you know, there were suggestions about going back to a monthly fee for unlimited classes. I don't know if that's something that would fit in the budget, I don't know.
The fees are for all classes, not just fitness, or just for fitness?
It is for specific recurring fitness programs.
But not like for Mahjong or
No,
reading?
that's free.
No, we still, most of the special event days, and I'll say most, because, you know, not all the way across the board, we've, you know, managed our budget in a way that they can still be free to seniors.
Thank you.
So I did some research and I pulled up some of the things that we referenced when we were going into decision making, which I think I've loosely alluded to, but with this being on the agenda, I figured this might be a good venue to put this out there. So in 2019, I was looking at the old program brochure. The Frothingham Hall offered 4 unique fitness programs. Some recurred. I think we had 6 or 7 throughout the week, and that was the $15 unlimited. Or if you want to do a drop-in, it was about $5 a class. So not terrible in terms of price. Since then, currently, and this is actually out of date now, this year we are up to, I believe, actually 13 going on 14 unique fitness programs in Frothingham Hall. And with some of the creative budgeting that we've done, you know, Chris referenced it, we're anywhere between $3 a class and $133 a class. And again, you know, it's worth putting out there as well as with our friends in ECAT that if somebody has financial hardships, we have the waiver and it's intended to be used. It doesn't require more than just your last year's tax form for us to, you know, reference and have a conversation about. And even that isn't a hard requirement. If somebody's fallen on hard times just because they had a good year last year, doesn't mean we're going to turn them away.
Shoot.
She's laughing down there. What's that?
I'm not
She lost
sure.
something in her hair.
I'm not much watch television. So, you know, 12, 13, and I'm hoping by June we'll be able to have that up to 14 classes. And these opportunities, you know, my philosophy has been to try to offer things that fit folks that are in different situations. Gentle yoga for folks who are looking for low impact, beginner exercises, some Learn To programs, up into, you know, things that are Drums Alive, a little bit more action oriented, dignity focused programs like Pilates, up to, you know, competitive sports like bocce and pickleball on the weekend. So offering a wide range, making the most of this space for the folks that are in town. For comparison, I did, you know, the towns that we looked at and benchmarked with, Canton, Stoughton, Sharon. Canton offers 8 unique programs, and this is, you know, these are no slight to these particular towns, but just emphasizing the work that we've put in and the, you know, that we value this group. 8 classes, they're between $2.50 and $3 a class. They do use a punch card. Stoughton has 7 unique classes, fitness classes, $2.50 to $5 a class. They do use punch cards. They actually sometimes use 2 punches per class, depending on the demand for the class. And Sharon offers 10 unique programs between $5.37 and almost $7 a class. They don't use a punch card, but you have to register for 6 to 8 week programs. So you're committing financially for that. And those can range between, if I remember correctly, $42 to $65. Don't quote me on that, for just 6 weeks worth of programs. So, I am always open to feedback. We will continue to use the data that I've referenced already to make informed decisions. If we see our numbers start to go down, that may provide some indication folks may not be satisfied with price, so maybe other things that are impacting us. But with regard to the punch card themselves, by design, it's super easy for our modest staff to administer. if I get sick, I can't come to class, the punches don't go bad, there's no
Right.
expiration date on it.
It's wonderful. They, and it's like $2 a class at the most expensive, right? If it's $20 for one card and they're 10, so
It would
don't,
be-
you know.
Yeah, 20 punches for $10.
Yeah, so that's good. I know, the other thing I wanted to ask about is, you know, there's many health insurance or supplements to Medicare have a fitness reimbursement. It would be wonderful if Frothingham, as the Council on Aging, if somebody could look into how people can claim that and make it easy to claim that. Yes.
You have to go through your insurance company.
Right, but there's,
You have to apply for the, this is what I had to do. I had to apply for the application from my insurance company. And then I had to get a receipt from them for the $150.
yeah, that's what I'm looking at, is,
Right.
you know.
So you're hoping that the Council on Aging can assist folks in accessing their Medicare?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we do like an FAQ form and like a
Yeah.
how-to, a
Yeah,
guide.
how
a guide
to,
for
and,
people.
you know, receipts would be available, blah, 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 that kind of stuff.
That's great.
And that have the town, these people here don't keep track of who buys what. They just give you your 3 cards or whatever. You'll have to keep your punch cards to prove that you put in your $150. You have
Right.
to let people know that.
Right, that's the kind of stuff that
Yeah,
needs
see,
to be.
before it used to be we paid our $15 and they wrote your receipt and they had proof that you bought.
You
We
do
do
get a
write receipts.
receipt for,
Yeah, and
the-
Oh, yeah,
the cost of the
I do
cards.
have a receipt
and
somewhere for that.
online versions will forward most folks the receipts. We're hoping more folks will utilize the online portal because it minimizes lines, wait times,
Sure.
things like that. And the digital copy of the receipt is definitely beneficial as well for
Yeah.
record keeping. But that's a really good idea, Chris, and I'll check in with it. I'll see if maybe even Corey can be looped in since he's financial services.
Mhm.
Maybe that could be sort of a collaborative opportunity for both of us to take on.
but that would be helpful to a lot of people, and I think it would tone down the complaining about
Sure.
the cost of things.
Yeah, and I do hope to meet those people because I'm interested in their perspective and
Mhm.
maybe giving them some more context that I've covered here, and
Mhm.
maybe that'll change opinions, maybe it won't, but we'll do the best we can. Okay, any other questions on the punch card program? Okay.
Thank you, good information.
Next meeting, I have us slated for 4/6, 10 a.m. Frothingham. Thankfully, no winter storm got in our way for in-person meetings.
I'm not gonna be able to be here next time, as I said, gone.
Hopefully we can maintain a forum, but I will ask Jen to send out the agenda as she has, and folks can respond to it, and just give us a heads up if you acceptance of our February 2nd minutes. I don't know if the folks had a chance to look at them, but we'll need a motion to accept. Jean
I second.
motions, Lynn seconds.
I second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? Nay.
She does a good job.
Unanimous. Awesome. Staff notes, I have none. I do want to thank Corey and Bruce for coming. I will talk to Tracy and see if she can make an appearance at the our April meeting. I think guest speakers are good practice to keep everybody up to date on what we're doing. You might get sick of programming updates just for me alone. I get kind of boring. Any member notes?
Any birthdays?
Any birthdays? My wife is in April 7th, but.
Mine was last week.
Oh,
happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
I would have given you a shout out. Anyone else have a April birthday? No?
I'm a winter baby.
Summer.
All right, any motion to adjourn?
Belated happy
So
birthday.
moved.
Thank you.
Matthew, second by Jean. Any opposed? Nay.
Do I put a time? I'm gonna say 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
11 o'clock.
Close.
Very
Thank you
efficient
so
meeting. Thank
much.
you all. That was awesome input.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you all in April.
Was